Let me ask you something. Have you ever driven down a road that feels like it's watching you? Not haunted, not creepy, just kind of aware. Like it's seen people come and go, and it already knows that you're not going to stay too long. Well, that's the Horseshoe Road in Heuvelton. And no, this isn't one of those locals say a woman in white appears at midnight kind of story. This is worse because everything I'm about to tell you actually happened. And the uncomfortable part? Nobody thought it was worth writing down at the time because it was just, well, life. Because if you stand on Horseshoe Road at dusk, right where the land dips toward the Oswegatchie River, there's a strange realization that hits you. The road didn't lead people to opportunity. It led them back to work every day, every season, for generations. And once you understand who walked this road and why, you stop wondering if it's haunted, and you start wondering how anyone survived it. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Street Signs Storytime, where I drive all over the, county and area. Especially during basketball season, we went and saw a lot of cool and interesting road names on the way to Chateauguay pretty recently. Stay tuned for some roads up that way. But I got thinking the other day, I was like, the Horseshoe Road. This is one that Heuvelton talks about a lot. This is one that I see quite often. And this is one that I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive. So it took me a couple of extra weeks, listening to some people, dug up some stuff, and really tried my best to find some real history of the Horseshoe Road in Heuvelton, New York. And, well, this is what I found. But before we jump into that, check out the friends of the show in the description. livebearded.com/beardlaws. Make the beard look as good as this. I mean, if you're going to take the time of growing, you might as well put the good products in there, right? Check out our friends squatchjuice.com/beardlaws. You're going to stay hydrated, energy and focus, or you just want some focus. I'm telling you, it's the good stuff. And if you like to read, I got a bunch of books. I'd appreciate it. And if you're local, let me know. Maybe I'll meet up with you. Give you a little autograph for free. Without further ado, let's jump in to the Horseshoe Road, because the Horseshoe Road isn't named for symbolism. It's named for geometry. Early 19th century county survey maps show that the stretch deliberately curved to avoid low, wet ground feeding into the river floodplain. Straight roads, they flood. Curved roads, they survived. So surveyors bent the road instead of fighting the land. That curve mattered in the 1800s because wagon tipped on really sharp grades. Horses, they exhausted pretty easily. Winter ice made straight river approaches straight dangerous, and this road was built for reliability, not speed, which tells you something important already. Anyone using Horseshoe Road wasn't passing through. No, they were committed. And before Heuvelton was Heuvelton, did you know that it was Fordsburg? Maybe we should do a whole new thing. If you didn't know, let me know. I'll dive deep into it. And before, well, it was Heuvelton, Fordsburg. The Oswegatchie River was the real highway. Indigenous travel routes followed it long before settlers arrived. And when European settlers started to move in, they didn't invent new paths. They just copied the old ones. By the early 1800s, Heuvelton, or if you're driving and your GPS might say Heuvelton, became an industrial village tied to iron production, or charcoal, timber. All of it moved because of the river. Horseshoe Road became a feeder road for farms to village, timber lots to charcoal pits, workers' homes to mills. It was never meant to be famous. It was meant to function. And roads like that tend to outlive everything. It's just simply built for glory. Now here's where the story stops being abstract, right? Because in the 1970s, a dairy farmer named Ann Vineyard worked on a farm on Horseshoe Road outside of Heuvelton. It's not folklore. Her story is preserved, kind of like jelly, right? Through North Country agricultural records sourced from the Ogdensburg Journal. She ran a 40-head dairy herd, and she converted it to 3 times a day milking schedule. Let me translate that into human terms. That's not farming. It's surrendering your life to a clock. Morning, midday, night. No days off, no holidays, and you can sure bet no, I'm tired. The road saw her headlights at hours most people only experience during bad decisions and newborns. And Ann Vineyard wasn't special because she was unique. She was special because she wasn't. Horseshoe Road was full of people just like her, doing brutal, necessary work that kept the town alive. and then quietly disappearing from memory. But historic newspaper records, they don't tell epic tales, they tell smart truths. And that's where the Horseshoe Road shows its teeth. Archival notices place Mary Patterson living on Horseshoe Road in the late 1970s. Other records list Elizabeth Simmons associated with the same name. In the mid-1970s, no headlines, no scandals, just proof that people lived there long enough to be listed and then moved on or passed on or faded out of print. That's North Country history probably, right? In a nutshell. If you weren't murdered, famous, or arrested, you barely exist on paper. But let's fast forward to now. Horseshoe Road isn't abandoned, it's absorbed. The village of Heuvelton officially recognizes land along Horseshoe Road as part of its riverfront public space. Former wastewater treatment site at 101 Horseshoe Road now sits inside a plan for long-term park use tied to river access, right? And there might even been some people that, saw a future and maybe wanted the youth to absorb this as baseball fields, softball fields, maybe a basketball court, but there is some boat launches, maybe even a trail. I mean, it's the same land, just a different purpose. And here's where the part that feels almost poetic, even though nobody planned it. The road that once fed industry now feeds memory. And look, if you're expecting me to tell you the Horseshoe Road is haunted by a dairy ghost with unfinished business, sorry. The real horror here is commitment. This road didn't scare people away. It actually wore them down. Slowly. Honestly. Without ceremony. Which, frankly, is way more intimidating than a jump scare. But the Horseshoe Road, it feels heavy because it is, right? Not with tragedy, with repetition, with footsteps that didn't get, memorialized, with headlights that came and went at ungodly hours, with people who didn't think they were doing history, but absolutely were. So the next time you drive that curve and feel like the road is watching you, relax. It's not watching you, it's remembering. And it's seen tougher people than us try to outlast it. That's what I came up with. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If there's a road name out there near you, far away, something you've seen and you want me to dive deep into it, please let me know. And just remember, I'm doing this for fun, all right? There's a lot more that I could do to add to this, but this isn't, meant to be a 40-minute documentary in the deep dives. This is a 6 to 10 minute video about a street name. And, spend a lot of time doing the research to do this, and hopefully you do enjoy it. And if you do, send it over to some people that might enjoy it as well. And if you don't, then just tell me in the comments, hey man, this is boring, I'm gonna go watch Mr. Beast. But either way, I'm enjoying it, so I'm gonna keep doing it, and I'll put out another one next week. So that's all I got. Stay safe out there, stay warm, it's getting frigid, and take care, everybody.